have got the iPhone 14 early. Actually, I have every model of the iPhone 14 early, and Apple is going to hate this video because I'm about to show you everything that's new with these all new, still unreleased iPhone models. As we always do here on the Apple Circle, let's break down the latest Apple leaks, news, and rumors that you need to know about, including everything you need to know about the all new iPhone 14. Let's talk ports, colors, cameras, new features, hidden features, and decide, are these phones really worth it? Definitely not. Well, let me explain. So here you go. This is our best look yet at the all-new iPhone 14 lineup launching in just a few months from now in early September. Look at these phones, we can see all the new features here right off the bat. But before we go any further, let me just make it crystal clear that these are not real, functioning, working iPhone 14 models. In fact, these are dummy models, but contrary to the name, these dummy models are anything but dumb. They're actually used by case manufacturers and other companies to get a really good idea of exactly what the iPhone 14 all models are going to look like, where the buttons are going to be set, where the camera dimensions are. Basically, all these companies who want to make cases and accessories want to get these to market as soon as possible, so they use these dummy models, reference devices, basically just like realistic looking iPhone 14 models that don't actually turn on to get their products ready to go. And as they work towards getting their products ready, we also ourselves, just our curious little Apple community here, we get our best look yet at what is launching very, very soon, coming later this fall. Obviously, some things might change between now and when these phones are officially released, but like I said, these models are usually pretty accurate and they've been sort of based off the schematics that have leaked out, and more often than not, they're usually almost always right. So let's take a look in detail here at what we know about the iPhone 14 and what little clues and secrets these models tell us about these brand new iPhones launching really, really soon. Right off the bat, let's take a look at the iPhone 14 Pro next to the iPhone 13 Pro, and you'll notice here that things don't look all that different. That's because they're really not. The iPhone 14 lineup is gonna retain basically the same design as the iPhone 13 and the iPhone 12. Basically, there's a lot of DNA shared from these iPhones over the last few years, and the iPhone 14 is not gonna have any radical redesign. The camera hump is basically going to look the same. It's not gonna be flush against the phone. It's not gonna be in a different orientation. We're not gonna have a more sort of iPhone 4 retro style design. The iPhone 14 is looking very similar to the iPhone 13 with a couple of noticeable improvements and upgrades that you have got to know about. The first one here, and one of the most major of the iPhone 14 Pros, is the all-new main camera. I wish I could show it off here, but of course these don't turn on, but just sort of imagine what the stunning images are going to look like out of this all-new upgraded 48 megapixel main camera. Yes, at long last, the iPhone 14 is finally getting a major camera upgrade, mainly just to the Pros this year, but it's finally going to be making the jump from 12 megapixels all the way up to a 48 megapixel main camera. Important to note here that Apple is rumored to be using pixel binning technology to give you sort of better, higher quality, more detailed packed 12 megapixel stills. So you'll have a 48 megapixel sensor or camera, but you're not gonna be able to have 48 megapixel stills. At least that's not what the rumors suggest. We're also hearing rumors that maybe Apple is going to give us 8K video recording functionality on the iPhone 14 Pro as well. Though this rumor is still a little up in the air, seems a little ambitious to me, so I'm not sure if that's gonna happen or not. Following that, no significant changes are expected to come to the main camera on the regular 14 and 14 Max, nor are we going to see any major upgrades to the telephoto lens on the Pros or the ultra-wide camera. Maybe some small things happen, but nothing like the major main camera upgrade on the 14 Pro models. And also, we should be getting some selfie camera upgrades across the board. So every single iPhone 14 model should be getting a better, more improved selfie camera that should allow more light into that sensor and also have better autofocusing capabilities as well. So you can take your selfies in even better quality this year on these new iPhones. Next up, let's take a look at the iPhone 14 lineup itself as you see here. Now on the back, things don't look all that crazy. This looks again very similar to the iPhone 13 series, but there are a couple of noticeable exceptions, mainly this phone right here. What is this larger iPhone, and what happened to the small mini iPhone from the last 2 years? Well, bad news here. If you haven't already heard, I'm sorry to say, but the mini iPhone is no more. There was the 12 mini, there was the 13 mini, but there is not going to be a 14 mini. But Apple has a replacement phone that I actually think is a better fit for a lot of people out there, and that's this guy here. This is really the newest model of the year. it's the iPhone 14 Max. So this has a very similar 6.7-inch OLED display that is found in the 14 Pro Max, with a couple of specific missing features that I'll come back to in a second. But right off the bat, this is a very interesting phone. It packs a massive, high quality, really nice display on the front, and on the back, you've got 2 cameras here. You've got a lot of the Max iPhone features here, specifically that really big display, minus the Pro features. So there is not 3 cameras on the back, there's no Pro Motion, there's no ProRes video. It's a nice big iPhone 14 minus the Pro features and minus the Pro price tag too. I think for a lot of people, this makes sense and might just be the perfect phone out there for grandparents, parents, anyone who likes larger iPhones at a cheaper price. But speaking of that cheaper price, what is it going to be? Because I feel like pricing is going to be the make it or break it thing here with the 14 Max, and as of right now, we really don't know. Hopefully it's $200 to $300 cheaper than the 14 Pro Max, which is gonna be probably about $1099, so hopefully somewhere a little lower, maybe even a little bit less than that discounted price. We just don't know due to supply constraints and supply chain issues and stuff like that, but hopefully pricing on this is fair and good, and I think that if it is, then this 14 Max should be a really great phone for many people out there. And speaking of screen, a couple of important things to note here. First off, again, there are 2 sizes here, 6.1 and 6.7, so you can pick up either of these sizes in a Pro variant or a regular variant, and also the Pro phones have a couple of extra features. One is they've got Pro Motion, which is that super nice, silky smooth, high refresh rate tech built into the display, and also these Pro phones have an all-new always-on display mode that should be coming to those phones just as an exclusive feature. And holding the 14 Max, I was kind of curious as to how this was going to be to hold and handle, and it's sort of hard to get an impression from a dummy model, but we can assume a couple of things. One is that it's gonna have sort of the same footprint and same screen size as the Max version. So if you pick up a 12 Pro Max or 13 Pro Max, you'll get an idea of what that screen size is going to feel like in your hand. But one big difference here is that Apple is using stainless steel in their higher end phones, while their more quote unquote basic phones, basically the 12, 13, the 14, those are going to be having aluminum bodies. So basically they should be a little bit lighter and have some different color options as well. So you should be getting a larger screen iPhone, but it shouldn't feel as heavy as the 14 Pro Max, though might feel less premium depending on whether you like aluminum or stainless steel. So again, just sort of hard to get an impression of exactly how this is going to feel in the hand, but for those curious, it's basically the exact same footprint as the Pro Max model we've had for the last few years. One of the other really big changes here that I am so curious to see with the iPhone 14 Pro models is that all new smaller notch, or I guess specifically here, the all new double hole punch system that is going to occupy less screen real estate than the notch we've got on the 14 and 14 Max. And I'm just so curious to see what Apple is going to do, if anything, to better utilize this extra screen real estate. Maybe we'll get the battery percentage back in the corner, maybe we'll get more info we can put up there, or maybe Apple does nothing. Again, really hard to understand from the dummy models that don't turn on what this new double hole punch system is gonna be, but we are gonna get this new system, whether you love the look or hate it, on the 14 Pro and 14 Pro Max this year. If you don't like it and just want the regular old notch, that's gonna be sort of status quo on the 14 and 14 Max. One of the other big questions here with the iPhone 14 is, of course, the port. So let's take a look once and for all at the port at the bottom of these dummy models. And yep, no USB-C this year. It looks like Lightning is going to be sticking around for yet another year. But an interesting point on this is that Apple actually might be switching to USB-C as soon as next year on the iPhone 15. This sort of seems crazy, sort of came out of left field, but with all this regulation that's moving forward around the world and new pending legislation that's working its way through the system here in the US, we might actually see Apple be forced to switch to USB-C sooner than later. There are already reports that Apple is going to be switching to USB-C on accessories, like AirPods Pro 2 will actually have a USB-C port, according to the rumor. So a USB-C feature for the iPhone might be coming very, very soon, but not happening this year on any iPhone 14 model. But hey, at least there's a port, right? At least we didn't get the portless model. We should be getting bigger batteries inside of all iPhones except the 14 Pro Max for whatever reason. That is a current rumor. Also, Apple's gonna be doing a little bit interesting thing here with the processors. The iPhone 14 and 14 Max will get last year's A15 Bionic processor, while the 14 Pro phones will get the A16. So probably not a huge difference, but if you do want the best, most versatile, most efficient, most powerful processor, you're gonna have to fork up the extra money for a Pro phone because the A16 will not be in the 14 or 14 Max this fall. And now it is your turn. I want to hear, what are your thoughts on the iPhone 14 series launching this fall? Are you gonna go with the 14 Pro Max? Are you excited about the 14 Max? And really, is there enough here to warrant the upgrade? Are you disappointed we didn't get some major redesign? Are you looking forward to that new camera? Or are you gonna sit this one out and wait for the iPhone 15 and hope we see some bigger changes next year in 2023? Let me know your thoughts about the iPhone 14 down below. We can discuss. As always, I appreciate you guys watching these videos. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm Robert Rosenfeld from the Apple Circle, and I'll see you all in the next one.